Okay, so let me give you these three things that I promised you. The three things that took me off of a couch with $47 in my bank account, mobile home, broke, to, bigger and better things. So brought a little whiteboard in here. My living room, hopefully you saw the video. You came here from a little house tour, a little explanation. Got the fish in the pond back here. I like this room, it's where I read and it's quiet. So no better place for me to show you these three things. So as you watch this, remember the reason you're listening here has nothing to do with me. It doesn't have to do with if I have Ferraris and Lamborghinis or big houses in Beverly Hills. Who cares, really? Because this is about you now. And when my mentors, I had 5 mentors, when they taught me, they showed me the possibilities, but then they brought it right to me and just said, here you go, do this stuff. This is the principles. And so as you listen to this, listen very carefully. This is a video that I don't keep up forever. I like to put this stuff out there for the people that are really ready. So if you're ready, this is by and far away the most important 3 things I ever learned if you want to do big things. So if you want to come out of nothing, you're broke, or maybe you're a little more successful already, but you've plateaued. These 3 letters I'm going to show you, along with the lessons that my mentors taught me around these 3 letters, are going to make all the difference. If you are overweight, if you feel horrible, if you are depressed, if your social life sucks, these are the things I use. That book, How to Win Friends and Influence People, this is the same stuff right here. So, the reward for understanding this is the most important reward. It's the good life. And I always say that to myself. I'm like, Ty, it's not just money. You don't just want money but you're depressed. You don't just want money, but then you have no friends, or you're, overweight and you don't feel well physically. You got to have it all, health, wealth, love, and happiness. These are the dreams. And very few people get all 4. Like a lot of people I know have wealth. It's Beverly Hills, Hollywood Hills. People have wealth here, but not everybody has love and happiness in their life. And so how do you get all 4? Well, you have to understand these principles. So I always say to myself, there's principles of visualization and positive thinking, and those are all cool. I was talking to a guy who's a professor at USC, Jay Samit, and he talks about this thing, effectuation. And there's also a book called The Magic of Thinking Big by a professor from University of Georgia who said, look, if you don't believe something is possible, you'll definitely never do it. So part of why I show my house and cars is to be like, listen, man, I was not a trust fund kid. I didn't inherit, this stuff. I was born to a single mom in Long Beach, California. My dad was, out of the picture. And I didn't grow up in Beverly Hills. So I wasn't around all this stuff. So growing up, if you would have told this stuff to me that I know now, I wouldn't have believed it. The education system didn't equip me for this. My friends and their parents and my parents, my mom, they didn't know this is possible. And so I'm showing you that this stuff is possible and that you can rise out of wherever you are. Don't have a college degree? I still don't have a college degree. But there's a way to rise out of it. The magic of thinking big, like that book says. So one thing I'll just warn you, because I'm naturally this way and maybe you are too. It's easy while you watch something like this to be a little bit ADD. But I got to hang out with Arnold Schwarzenegger the other month. And one thing he says about lifting weights, he says, when you're in the gym, because he still works out down the street here in Venice, California. He goes, when I'm in the gym, I see people that are not, they're texting while they exercise. And he said, they're never gonna get muscles. He said, if you want to lift weights, lift weights. If you want to text. So as you watch this, remember, this is the stuff that nobody taught you and I. We both have a common enemy. The common enemy is the ignorance of our upbringing. Remember that. If you want to take some notes, I'd write that down. That's the common enemy that you and I have in common. It is the ignorance that lets you, and let me just tell you, those of you who are in some pain, like I was, financially, or however it was, lonely, all those, it can get worse. It can get, that's the bad thing about losing your momentum. It can get a hell of a lot worse. Now, good news is if you're alive, you can probably pull it back around. And so these three things that I'm going to tell you, these are how I got a Ferrari, how I got a Lamborghini, how I built multi-million-dollar businesses, how I got different homes across the United States, how I've been able to travel to 51 countries, how I've got awesome friends, and how I get to spend time with the most interesting people in the world. Not just celebrities like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but people like Elon Musk. If you see my Instagram, stuff like that, I learned so much from these people. It's an exciting life. It's an exciting lifestyle. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, I hope my fate stays at this momentum, never go backwards. And so let me just kind of jump into these three things for you. Now, I'm going to give them as letters. I found with myself, maybe you've seen my TEDx talk where I talk about how I read a book a day. People ask me how I remember stuff. Well, one of the simple ways is just use a simple memorization tool. Use some simple letters, So the first thing that my 5 mentors taught me, was number one is the letter K. Now, I don't have the best handwriting. I'm going to warn you right now. If you come here, bear with me. So K, the first letter to remember. If you want to do something big with your life, if you want the good life, if you want to, maybe you're already making money as an entrepreneur, you want to make $1 million a year, you already make $1 million, you want to go up, make 5 million, blah, blah, whatever it is, you want to know the K, trust me. Now, how's the K work? Well, let me tell you a story. So, I'm sleeping on this couch in a mobile home in North Carolina, all right? I'm sleeping there and, I have nothing. No college degree. I'd lost touch with all my friends. I had worked on a farm for 5 or 10 years, so I didn't have any modern day skills. I knew how to drive a tractor and horses and cows and all that stuff, so I didn't have that. A car, there was an old junky car that had a hole in the floor. And I remember laying there being like, is this it? Am I done? Did I lose out on life? And so what happened, a few things happened, and I'll share them right during this little presentation. The first thing, somebody handed me a book. And in that book, it had one piece of information. I only remember one sentence. It was actually a book by Tony Robbins, if you've ever heard of him. He was in that movie with Jack Black, Shallow Hal, and he's written all kinds of best-selling books. But in that book, it said, there was a line, and it said, when you fail, you ponder, and when you succeed, you party. So therefore, all great things come out of failure because you must ponder. And so it was a bit of information and knowledge which said, when you're down and out, like I was, that it could be harnessed. It could be used as fuel to actually get my way out of that. So the first thing I got was a little bit of knowledge. I'm not using the word education. I'm not using the word information. It was knowledge. And here's the difference. In your life, you and I have been spoon-fed a whole bunch of BS from first grade, second grade, third grade. You've been fed all this information. I remember social studies in school. And great, it's all great to learn that. You learn what the California state bird and the state flower is. But you never learn a formula for financial success in school, especially not when you're young. Even though you could learn it then, that's the thing that kills me. Everything I know now, I could have been taught when I was 8, 10, 12, 14. Kids are smarter than people think. And so the necessary, and today I was just on the phone with a guy, New York Times, Wall Street Journal bestseller. 2 million books he sold. He started the largest real estate company in the world. His name's Gary Keller. It's Keller and Associates, the largest residential real estate company in the world. And he was telling me, I asked him, and he's another rags to riches story. Didn't have any money and built this, huge thing. And I said, if you had one day left on the earth and had to give one tip to your, daughter or son or family, what would it be? And he's like, you got to get knowledge. He's like, you want to invest in real estate? You have to know what you're doing. And it's not just information, because information just makes you book smart. It's information that you can apply into action. That's why as you're watching this, pat yourself on the back. How many people do you think in the world? will sit and watch me here, just with a whiteboard in my living room. Not many. So, you're already kind of on the pathway. And K has to come first. Knowledge has to come first. People, I have a lot of employees that work for me in different businesses, and I have this guy, Kevin, and he's awesome, and he's super energetic, but he also always does this step last. And so he makes a lot of mistakes. Now he's getting better at it, but if you don't understand, why I read a book a day? Easy. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates, the two richest men in the world, they both said if they could have one superpower, it'd be to be the fastest reader in the world. Bill Gates takes book reading vacations, 2 weeks. He brings 20, 30, 40 books and just reads. Warren Buffett says he reads 8 hours a day. Now, this is not to say you need to read 8 hours a day. I didn't pull myself out of that couch just by reading 8 hours a day, but it was the acquisition of knowledge and the hunger and thirst for knowing stuff and then putting it in action. Information, gathering the information, then boom. You want to invest in real estate? Gary Keller just told me today, he's like, start to understand, the difference between single family homes, multi-units, understand how to change the zoning, understand how to change the use, how to add livable square footage. You want to build an entrepreneurial venture, you need to understand a little bit of stuff. You got to know what convertible notes are. You need to know what debentures are. And now this might sound foreign because it was all foreign to me. I knew nothing. I remember some of my mentors, literally, they weren't always the nicest people, laughing at me, being like, you don't know this stuff, you're never going to do anything in life. But I used that as the fuel. Them laughing at me became the fuel. I said, no one's ever going to laugh at me like that again. I vowed to myself. I said, I'm going to go out and find knowledge. I became a certified financial planner. I went out and I studied, and I began to understand finances. I began to understand the stock market. I began to understand putting the pieces together like a puzzle. And I'll get in a little more, but I'm going to just get through these. So whenever you're starting anything, you start with knowledge. I'm working on launching a fashion brand. Now, I don't come from a background where I have a specific, none of my mentors were in that business. But I know anything I want to do, I know this formula will work. I got to hang out the other day, if you see my Instagram, with Elon Musk. He started PayPal, co-founded PayPal, Tesla, SpaceX, Solar City. He's worth one of the richest men in the world, $13 billion. And here's the crazy thing. Someone asked him, you don't have a background in starting a spaceship company like SpaceX or electric cars like Tesla? And he said, but I know how to read. And he taught himself aeronautical engineering. So, he's a smart guy, but still that's understanding the K principle. You have to love knowledge. And if that's too hard, you might as well just shut off this presentation right now and be like, that's not for me. Because you might go buy yourself a get-rich-quick scheme and it tells you don't need this. They're lying to you. Good news is, though, you don't have to have a super high IQ. You don't have to have 140 IQ, 150 IQ. There's lots of people who kill it in life who just have an average or above average IQ. You work with the cards that were dealt you in life, So K is the first one. I'm gonna get a little more. So I'm on the couch, I get this book. It's boom, it's like a little bit of knowledge comes in. So I was like, Then the next thing. Now, nobody told it to me like this. I'm telling you the story after the fact. Hindsight is 20/20, right? The next one is S. Now, a lot of people tell me, Ty, because I'm an investor now, like, Ty, will you invest in me? I got a plan. But I'm like, you know what? A plan is not what you need. What you need is a strategy. Big difference. Let me tell you a story about a strategy. So a plan is where you go, first I'm going to do this, then it's going to work out, and then I'm going to do this next, and then this. But we all know the realities of life. Life's a little bit like war. Things don't go your way. People betray you. There's death, disease. There's, people taking advantage of you. There's recessions and all this. So strategy is what a general does of an army. What does a general do? They make multifaceted plans. I've talked about this in another video. You move, if this works, then you go here. If that doesn't work, I always say, if you can't sit in a chair and strategize every day, there's no solution for you. But the good news, it only takes like 10 minutes a day, 5 minutes, maybe 15 minutes. Now, I'm going to show you it's not quite as simple as that because my mentor showed me a few tools. So mentors come in the knowledge and strategy phase. So while I was sleeping on that couch and I read that book and I got the knowledge that I didn't have to stay there, that there was a way to pull myself out. You could call it the science of success. What happened next was I said, you got it, because to create strategy, there's an old saying, thousands of years ago, make war with a multitude of counselors. So I started to talk to different people, and one of the people I bumped into said, hey, you need a mentor. You don't have a college degree, Ty, you should go into sales. So I didn't know anyone to teach me sales, and so I flipped through the phone book, and I found a full-page ad, and it was someone I didn't know, just a stranger. It said Mike Stainback. I figured this guy must be rich if he has a full-page ad, so called up. I said, can I have an appointment? And I walked in that door of his office in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I said, Mike, you don't know who I am. His secretary led me back, I'll never forget, down this little hallway. Secretary Kathy and Mike, I told him, I said, listen, I got the knowledge. I know enough to be dangerous, but I don't know enough to get what I want. I was like, can you help me? And I'll never forget, he was sitting in this chair, big mustache, and he just turned to me and he said, you know what? I've been looking for someone like you for 20 years. You show up in the morning and I'm going to show you what I know. And I was like, okay. And I started walking out the door and he said, one thing. He said, come back here. And he said, you know what? Ty, if you listen to what I'm going to tell you, one day you're going to hug my neck. And I remember thinking, wow, I wonder if he's right. And he began. I came back the next day. I didn't own a suit. I found a suit at a thrift store. I remember it didn't fit me right. And I walked in and he began to lay out strategy, multifaceted strategy. Okay, Ty, first, he was in finance. That was his business. It's like, here's how you approach customers. And when they say no, here's what you go next. And he laid out, like if I diagrammed it, it was like this whole cool map. And I was like, man, there's a strategy to making money. Then I bought an online course by a guy named Corey Rudel, who actually recently, not too long ago, died in a car crash. I wish I could have met him because I bought a course. It was like $200 or $500. I forget. I bought it online. And it was one of these guys saying, I'll teach you how to use the internet. And I acquired knowledge, and he showed strategy. I remember I got it in the mail. It was this whole program. And sure enough, he showed me, and I became one of the first people ever, 2001, to do internet advertising, Google AdWords. And so I began to acquire knowledge and strategy through books, through mentors, through programs and courses that I was buying, okay? And then, last but not least, there's an E. This is the formula. Never forget these 3 letters. They will change your life. I promise you. Even now, when I don't know what the hell to do, I go back to this, K-S-E, and the S, the E. In this order, by the way, you cannot change the order or you break the system. Execution. So a lot of people, I'll just say, I'm going to explain this one. A lot of people start executing before they have knowledge and strategy. Then you're like a chicken with your head cut off, running around, making mistake after mistake. That's why the average person who tries to start a business, 80% of people start a business. In 5 years, they're bankrupt because they start just executing. They have no knowledge or strategy. But execution becomes important. And the way you execute is through immersion. Immersion. See, you can't, maybe you've tried, you see people like trying to go to the gym, right? They know, they have the knowledge they need to lose some weight. They read a book and get some strategy. Okay, go to the gym 3 times a week, don't eat carbs or whatever. And then they try to execute, but they don't have the willpower. Well, I have a solution for that. It's immersion. Sorry, bad handwriting. Immersion means getting around other people or being part of a movement of people executing. In a second, I'm going to share with you this little program that I put out that it's been crazy. I put it out in different test phases and stuff, just like a little test group to see if it would work. And I only let a certain amount of people from different parts of the world, 40 different countries, people tried to be in this program where I explain way more in depth, because right now I'm just trying to keep this short and get you kind of understanding this. But there's intricate facets. Imagine if I gave you the full map where you strategize and you can build businesses, or you can get a raise where you work, or you can get out of debt or get out of college debt, or you can travel the world or whatever your thing is, and it's this and this and this and this. And I could just lay it out for you. So I began to do that because I became an entrepreneur after this Mike Steinbeck guy and these 4 or 5 mentors that I have. I began to be immersed around people who were executing. While the whole world was procrastinating, they were doing it. And so years later, many years later, I started building this really back in 2004, but I never shared it publicly. I just used it for the employees. So I would start a company and I'd hire employees, and then I wanted to train them. So I was like, I'm going to show you what my mentors did. So I began to train each and every one of them. And so over the years now, I've refined this down, and not too long ago, I released it a little more publicly and little private groups, and then it began to spread like wildfire. Like, it was like 100 people tried it, and there's different test groups around the world, 1,000. I think now 60, 70,000 people have tried it. And I'll tell you, I get testimonials I can't even begin to tell you. I have them printed out, stacks and stacks. There's a kid who wrote me, I would say right now I get 3,000 to 5,000 emails a day, people asking different things, but I get 100 or 200 or 300 testimonials a day. I mean, I had to keep one person in my company who would literally just keep this stack there and just like go through them and sort them. And a guy just wrote me using the principles in this program. I'm going to give you access to it in a second. He got in the program. He said for the last 4 years, he was making under $10,000 a year. And now him and his wife, they just bought a multi-million-dollar home with it. I think they live up in Seattle or something. I had a kid who wrote in, and he used this to build a business. He's making $6,000 a day. And the crazy thing is, he wrote at the end, he said, and I'm only 19, and I live in Lithuania. So it doesn't just work in America. I was like exciting because I was like, I wonder if this only works in America. So I began to let it go out in all these countries. And so, yeah, I'm going to put a little link here somewhere below or above. You'll see it. It'll pop up. And I decided to, yeah, I'll put it here. So you just click and you get access to it. And I decided to call it the 67 Steps. And here's why. As I began to do that KSE, that's the fundamental overview of this 67-step program. The knowledge, strategy, and execution, the 67 steps allows you to do those 3. So what happened is I started out, everything I learned, I've traveled to 50 countries, had 5 main mentors and many others. And now I've been lucky enough to meet all kinds of people almost every day, whether it's Gary Keller or Arnold Schwarzenegger or Elon Musk. Like it's been awesome. And I began to write out all of the things that I learned from them that allowed me to do KSE, and it was 300 principles. I had whiteboards all over, like it was too many, and then I started trying to teach them, and I was like, that's too many. I can't release 300 principles. Nobody can remember 300. Then I read this awesome article, which said that University College London did research and found that the average person needs 67 days to form new habits in the mind, biologically. And that's why New Year's resolutions don't work, because like you do a New Year's resolution for the average person, I think 80% of people within a month of their New Year's resolution has broken them. They're gone back to smoking or losing weight, didn't lose weight and all that kind of stuff. So what I did was I said, okay, they actually found 66 days was the average. And I told my cousin I'm going to call it the 66 steps, and she said it sounds too much like 666. So I was like, okay, I'm going to add one more for good luck, and I decided to call it the 67 steps. And I took those 300 steps, and I compiled them down, and I put them in only for access for these people in this test group. And then it began to just really go viral, and like I said, 40 countries, something that I can't remember if it's 60 or 70,000 people have gone through it. And the results have it's like game changing, man. One person, I just check them once a week looking through them. It's so awesome. It's like, person lost 100 pounds. I just saw, like I told you, people use it to make money. One person told me they used it to find mentors, the 67 techniques. The other person, I'll tell you something fascinating. A lot of people, I was at a conference in Omaha, Nebraska, Warren Buffett's Berkshire Hathaway, and I was at the pre-event. You might have seen, I posted a picture at Warren Buffett's house on my Facebook page. And, but the day before, I was walking down the street there was a little pre-event, and a kid came up to me, and I was actually doing a little selfie video, and this kid comes up to me and he goes, "You're Tai Lopez." I said, "Yeah." He said, I was in one of those private groups you had, that 67 steps. And he said, "You know what? The day before I found that, the night before, or the night I found it, I was in a bathtub and I was gonna slip my wrists. And I somehow came across, somebody sent it to me, or I came across something on some video, and I ended up going into your program." And he's like, "My life's completely revolutionized. I'm not depressed." He's like, and I get that a lot. I get about once a week, I get somebody who is severely depressed to the point of suicide. I saw on my Instagram, if you guys follow, I have a pretty big social following, millions of people. My YouTube videos, I just looked, were viewed 1 billion times this year so far, and about 100 million people watched them for a long time, not just like a short one. So it's interesting. I don't say that to brag or anything. It's just been interesting to see the wide variety of success stories. People, a guy who's already a successful business guy uses these techniques. He just wrote me an email. He did an $8.2 million deal the next week. Now, sometimes the results you're going to get when you get in this program are going to be real fast, and sometimes they take longer. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. If you're in that mentality, you've already lost the game of life. If you think that I did not go from sleeping on a couch and the next day to this house right here. This is a 17,000 square foot house. I didn't go from a mobile home overnight or even within a week or a month. But I'll tell you what I did get, which is the most important. Momentum, and things begin to get better every day. That's all you need. As long as every day is a little bit better and it doesn't go backwards, you'll be all right. There's lots of science on that. Daniel Kahneman won a Nobel Prize. He's a Princeton researcher, economist, and he said, you don't need to go from making $1 million to $100 million to being happy, or from broke to $100 million. That's not necessary. But you need to build a safety net financially, and you need to continue to go up. It's a contrast spot. You always stay on the rise. That's the momentum we need. So here's what you're going to get in this program, all right? Because I don't want to keep this too long. And I've also learned in life there's a good rule you may have heard. It's called the 80-20 rule, or the Pareto principle. What it says is anything you ever do in life, and some of you are going to build businesses, you're going to build big things, you're going to be artists and creative, and you're going to start movements and all that. Always remember the 80-20 rule. Anything you do, 20% of people, only 20% of people are really going to be there for you. Out of all your friends, if you take 10 of your friends, 2 of them are really your friends. The other 8 are more like acquaintances. And that's just how life is. And so, I built this program, and it's this video right here. Why am I doing this? It's kind of like a radar. It's like, I'm wondering, are you, out of 100 people watching this, there's usually thousands of people watching this at any given time because I make it free. Maybe there's, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people watching this right now. Maybe 20% of you. Every 100, 20 of you are really ready to make a change. A lot of people talk, but not everybody's ready, because a lot of people procrastinate and they don't realize the penalty for procrastination is the loss of hopes and dreams. I hope that's not you. So the way this program works, what you're about to get, you're going to click the link, and what you're going to learn is a step-by-step blueprint. I sat down and I laid it all out for you, one video at a time, 67 videos. Now, it sounds like a lot, but the good news is you'll start seeing results before you go through all of them. In fact, some people don't watch all of them. Some people watch the first couple ones, and that's enough to start the momentum, and then they build the KSE, knowledge, strategy, execution, with other mentors, and I'm all for that. This program is not about me. This is about you, okay? So, do me one favor. Can you flip that around? I'm gonna. What's on the back side? So, I'm gonna show you. First of all, we got health, wealth. I wrote it down because it's so much stuff. I put it on this little board. There's so much stuff. The first thing I'm gonna show you, we're gonna focus on financial freedom. You don't have financial freedom, everything suffers. What's the number one reason people get divorced? financial problems. So you got to get finances under control. And so there's kind of a step-by-step formula that I used around finances. Okay, you heard that in my story. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about. And I'm going through lots of different angles on it. You know, if you want to make money, it's not just like one thing. You don't just do that and then you have money. But it's also not as complicated as you think. We'll talk about multiple streams of revenue. We'll talk about real estate, and we'll talk about how you can finance things with no money down. We'll talk about understanding credit cards, understanding how to rise out of debt. I'll show you the pyramid. There's a pyramid of wealth. I'll show you how to use this pyramid, right? There's 5 levels. I'll show you how to move up step by step. That's what you want to do. You know, some of you are in tremendous debt. I'll show you techniques to get out of debt. I'll show you how to, and most importantly, one of the most important things I'm about to show you is how to figure out what you should do with your life. Everybody's lost that I meet. 9 out of 10 people have no idea. I'm going to show you a 6-step, you're going to draw it on a piece of paper. And it's going to, you follow it step by step, and it's going to show you exactly how to find your destiny. Really, it's worked. I've worked with some top scientists. If you've seen the stuff I do, it's with people who write the textbook on exact psychometric patterns, which is like, psychometrics is a fancy scientific word for your personality type and really customizing your life. See, it's not about living out someone else's dream, it's figuring it out for you. So I'm going to show you kind of that step-by-step way to discover your destiny. Without that, so KSE is powerful, but you have to know what to get knowledge, strategy, and execution on. If you feel lost, I'm going to show you how to find it, and it doesn't take long at all. You can learn it very quick. I'm going to show you a $28 million mistake I made and how to avoid it. $28 million I lost not knowing this simple way of experimentation. I'm going to show you how to travel the world and make money. Call it the passport principle. It's awesome. I've been to 51 countries. Change your life. I'm going to talk about how to get multiple homes. You know, it's cool to have. I have 3 places here in Hollywood and Beverly Hills, and how you can do that. I'm going to show you how to get business partners, find a team, build a team around you. You don't want to just leverage money and leverage knowledge. You also want to leverage other people's time to help you build your dream. I'm going to show you investment. There's a 3-bucket investment formula that I built. You know, I became a wealth manager at one point, and me and my business partner built out a bucket system where you put certain percentage of your money in different buckets. It's not what you've heard before. It's not like what people say, like you learn in school. I'm going to show you social media mastery. We live in the world of social media. I'm going to show you how I build, my Instagram from 0 and, I can build 30,000 followers a week. Real ones, you don't want to do spam or fake ones. These are all real. Show you a YouTube channel, how do you get 1 billion views on it? There's a simple, tried and true technique that you're going to learn in these 67 steps. And that being the 67 steps, once you're in, and I know you're in with, and you're the right kind of person, give you access to all other kind of stuff that you'll learn. Now, I'll show you the leverage technique. I'm going to show you, there's a simple way to change your body language and your tone of voice where you begin to meet powerful people, millionaires, billionaires. It's not enough to just go hand out cards and say, will you invest in me? I'm going to show you how to raise investment money. I'm going to show you how you can use this in your love life, in your physical body. I'm going to show you how to create new levels of willpower and focus. Without focus and willpower, all the knowledge in the world won't work. For those of you who suffer from procrastination, I'm going to show you a new kind of daily schedule that I use. It took me years to figure it out, and I've tested different ones. And what happens is once you understand this new way, you don't have to use so much willpower. You just start doing the right thing. That's the crazy thing. Like, I used to try my hardest, and it didn't work. I would procrastinate. But with this new simple technique, you change the order of how you have your day. I used to do this here, and it's not just like, it's different for different people. I'll show you how to customize it, but I'm going to show you how I do it. It's a principle called chunking, how to break things into broad chunks. Like, I've tried everything where you every minute you schedule out your day, you'll never stick to it. And I've tried no schedule. So chunking is a broad array, and it's a very powerful way to do that. So now, a lot of people are going to ask, Ty, this stuff's amazing. It's going to change my life. It's already changed the lives of 60, 70,000 people. virally. Like I said, it just went crazy everywhere I went. People were like, Ty, I've heard about this. And so the question people ask is, how much is it? And I struggled because I was like, I give 90% of my stuff away free. You can go on my podcast and Instagram and YouTube and Twitter, and I have a book of the day email. And so I was like, should I make it free? But I remembered one of the principles you'll learn is the best way to get value for value. And one of my mentors, Joel Salatin, he said, Ty, be careful of giving things away for free because it becomes a lose-lose. And one of the principles you'll learn is you don't want to ever have a lose-lose. These are level 1 businesses or level 0. You want to be at a level 3, I call it. So what a lose-lose means is if sometimes when you give everything away free, people take advantage of you. You're giving your time, you know. And in addition, the worst part is people don't pay attention to what they get for free. So what Joel Salatin used to tell me is give them a 90% discount on what it's worth. So if it's worth $1,000, charge $100. If it's worth $10,000, he said, charge $1,000. He told me, never be greedy, but be fair. And so as I begin to put together and do this test group and see the value, I was like, oh my God, the value's $10,000. So I was like, I'm gonna make this 67 steps following this 10x pricing principle. I'll make it $1,000. So I tried that for a little bit, but what happens is then the people who were like I was, sleeping on a couch, they don't have $1,000. So I said, forget that. So then we thought of doing like $497, and I was like, that's still too much. You know, I remember when I bought my first course online, the one, that Corey Rudel one that really changed my life. It wasn't $497. I went down, and his was like $200. And I remember thinking, back then I almost didn't buy it because I didn't even have $200. So I was like, maybe I'll make it $100. And then I was like, you know what? Forget it. I'll just make it $1 per talk. 67 steps. I'll make it $67. I couldn't think of anything more fair than that, you know? So in real life, people want me to consult. I charge $10,000 an hour. And each of the 67 steps would be like $10,000 if it was one-on-one. So I figured $1 instead of 10,000 is a pretty fair price. Crazy thing is the average person goes to a community college, which I have nothing against community college, but it's $1,000 for half of a semester or whatever, a community college course on something you'll never use again. I'm gonna show you something that professors don't know, and I know this because I know a lot of professors come to me. I've taught university, I just taught at USC, did their entrepreneur thing. I spoke at the #2 business school in the world, people paying $100,000, you know. Spoke at London School of Business, LBS, all these big schools, Harvard, you know, it's Harvard, then LBS is the next school. I spoke there. And what I'm giving you is the same stuff people are spending $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 on. So I figured $1 wasn't me being greedy, it was being fair, and more importantly, what I pay for, like sometimes people offer me stuff for free. I'm like, I don't even want it for free. I know I'll never read it. I get people giving me free books. I never read them. When I pay for a book, I'm like, I want my money's worth. So it's $67. You click the link. It'll take you to the page. It's a 256-bit encrypted page. So it's the most secure way you can pay. You know, people are sometimes worried about paying online. I'm like, don't worry about that. You know, the number one way you get your credit card stolen is handing it to a waiter, because they can go write your numbers down. This is a 256-bit SSL encrypted page. It's the highest level. We've never had anybody, no hacks ever. It goes, we don't even see your card number. It goes directly to Visa and MasterCard. You can pay there. For those of you, if you prefer to pay on the phone, you can click, there should be a phone number here. You can call, you can email, but they're simple. My office, I have them stay open 7 days a week, so you can always reach us. But I want to tell you, what I do with everything, program, this video, I take them down eventually. I'm not looking for everybody. And sometimes people don't believe me, and they think I'm just saying that. And then when I take it down, they're like, wait, no, I want to get into this. And I'm like, no. Warren Buffett, who I consider a mentor, you know, even though he's the second, third richest man in the world, I don't get to spend personal time with him, but I go, like I said, to his meeting for private investors, and I've heard him say over and over, he said, never be around people who suck their thumb. He says, when he does a deal, he says, here's what I have for you. I want to know that you're ready and you're one of those 80-20 that you're in the 20 that's ready to rock and roll. And so he just takes stuff away. He'll tell you, want to do this deal? Do it now or we'll never do it. And he always sticks with it. So if you don't see a button here, which has happened, and it happens, I've launched various programs and I just take them down. That means this program's closed. Sometimes the video gets, put up and stays up because I can't always control that. But right now, you are always at a crossroads in life. Anytime new information is presented to me, I always look and I'm like, I'm at a crossroads. And there's a famous poem that said, there's two paths in the woods and they met. And there's a fork in the road. And it says the person walking on that path took the road that most people don't go on. And it said it all made all the difference in their life. You know what most people do? They just do what everybody else does. They follow the masses. They follow the herd effect. Never do that. You need to go down the path. And that exact path, that's the opposite path. It's the contrary path. Okay? If you do that, life-changing things will happen. Now, one thing some of you are like, oh, I don't know, will this work for me? I have a 100% refund policy. If you want your money, the reason I can offer that is because I did this test program and almost nobody wanted their money back. So I just decided, I'll do a free refund just because I don't want you to feel like, oh, Ty, what if I get in there and I don't have time? Or I'm like, listen, you don't even need that much time. You just take your cell phone, take your computer. You can download them audio if you want to put them and just listen to audio while you're walking or in the car driving to work or picking up your kids or whatever you want to do. You don't have to listen for hours a day. You just sit back and let this information soak in. Remember I talked about immersion? It's an immersion effect that you're going to get. So click the link. You'll go to the next page. You'll enter your credit card info and your basic information, and boom, you're in. Now, I'm going to throw in a few bonuses because I was talking to my staff, and they were like, I was like, we have all these other things that we've charged for. Should I let people in for free? And a lot of the stuff's invitation only, and they're like, look, we just decided. Be generous. Give everything that we have that can revolutionize your life. And so we put in bonuses. So one of the bonuses that I'm going to give you, I'm going to show you how to read better. I'm going to show you I'm one of the fastest readers in the world, but you don't have to be the fastest. There's all kinds of techniques, and I've shown literally millions of people some basic techniques, but I haven't shown them all the advanced stuff. So let me show you. I'm going to put that right in there. I'm going to show you simple techniques that once you start to make money, I'll tell you this. People go through this program. They start making money, and they start freaking out, and they're like, what do I do with all this money? I'm going to show you once you start getting success, how to hold on to your success. I'm going to show you some real cool things that I had it as a kind of a bonus add-on on how to enjoy your money, because you don't want to just make it and not enjoy it, because then you won't have the reward, which will you need the reward to keep you waking up every morning and moving forward. So I'm going to give you a little manual that I have, and I keep it primarily for myself, but it's this motivation manual of what to do once life starts changing, once you start making money. I had a kid who is in my programs, and I have all ages. People use this to be successful. 70, and this guy's, no, I don't think he's 18. I think he's actually 18. He lives in Massachusetts. He just bought a Lamborghini. So he texted me and was like, an Huracan, the new Lamborghini Huracan. And he's like, how do I buy it? And da-da-da. I'm like, do I get it from dealership? Do I get it shipped? Do I get it used? So he's enjoying the fruits of his labor, and he needed that little manual. And so that's what this manual is, how to enjoy this success, how to enjoy newfound social success. People are going to want to start hanging around you. As you learn this, you watch your friends, relatives, acquaintances, people you haven't heard from for years are going to start texting you and be like, hey, let's hang out. I'm going to show you what you have to do to maintain your social status. And I'm not talking about false status. I'm not talking about arrogance. I'm saying, how do you bring and win friends and influence real friends, authentic friends, and connect with the most interesting doctors and authors and inventors and investors. I've done a little side bonus too on how to get, if you don't have a lot of money, how you can get your first investment dollars real fast. There's like 3 techniques that nobody knows, which blows my mind. And I decided I have that separate, I'm gonna put that in the bonus. And there's other bonuses I'm gonna give you, because if you're watching this, remember, you've already missed out on literally, I think something like 100 or 200 hours of live talks that I've done that I don't share publicly. They're not on YouTube or anywhere. And all they are for is for people who are inside the 67 Steps VIP program. And before, we were just gonna charge per hour of those. So it'd be, you know, if we charge $10, it'd be like, and there's 100 or 200 hours, it'd be $1,000 or $2,000. If you get into the program now, I'm just gonna put that bonus in. It's kind of we call it the VIP vault. So I'm gonna give you access to the VIP vault. And I'm also gonna let you in the VIP. So this is something that I limit how many people get in, because I'm gonna let you try this VIP thing here. You get in the VIP, people always wanna talk to me personally, and it's not realistic now because I get a lot. I get, you know, 100,000 people a month. But what happens, I created this VIP program, and I'm gonna let you, but only people, if you still see the button, that means we kind of do it on a slot, availability of slots. So if you see the button here to get in the 67 steps, that means that we still have the VIP, and sometimes people, you know, drop out of the VIP, and then it's like waiting list, other people get into the VIP. So if you see this, you can get into the VIP program. The reason I keep it fairly small is because I go on live talks and I bring on, I just did a live VIP call with Jay Samit. Jay Samit raised $800 million. He's the CEO of a public company. He was the president of like Universal or one of these big, you know, this guy's a genius. He's friends with the guy who started LinkedIn, and he just sat here and got on. You could connect right from your phone and talk to him. I mean, you know how much that would cost? You'd have to go to Harvard to get that. And so this VIP program, I keep it small enough that you can get your questions asked. Now I've added a feature where I go on Periscope and I go on Meerkat, and when I go on there, I go on a few times a week, and you can ask me questions directly. And if you're in the VIP, you get first preference. I answer your questions. So I'm gonna give you access to the VIP. That's the other bonus. So click this link. You're gonna be taken in. You're gonna be taken to the page, and you're gonna get access. Remember, it's all guaranteed. A lot of people are afraid. I'm like, never be afraid to do anything that's guaranteed if there's a refund policy. I mean, I invest in real estate, I buy businesses. If anybody ever told me, hey, invest in this real estate, invest in this business, and if it doesn't work out, you can have all your money back, I would do it without thinking. So I decided to make it easy on people. I realize we live in a world where everything's against us. I wanted to be on your side. Be like, listen, I'm down there with you, man. I've been down, down, down. You know, maybe you've been down further than I've been down, and a lot of people haven't. But I want to meet you where you are, just like my mentors were kind enough to meet me where I was. So I'm excited, gonna get in there. On the next page too, you'll see testimonial after testimonial. Weight loss, marriage saved, found a boyfriend, girlfriend, money made, business started, multi-million-dollar house purchased, happiness found. Remember, it's not me. I'm giving you these 67 steps from people much smarter than me. I'm just bringing it and collecting it. And it's hard to collect it all in one place. Trust me, I've been to Australia, Tasmania. I've been to Bolivia, Paraguay, Uruguay, Japan, Spain, Portugal, India. I've been in leper colonies in India. I've been on remote islands. To find this stuff is hard. So you'll see. There's one of a kind. You'll never see anything like this again. You know, so get in the program, click the link. It's either above, below. Got the little click here. Whoops. Click. Oops. Here. If you see it now, if you click and nothing happens, you snooze, you lose. Okay. If you can also call. Because some people like to call. If you want to talk to somebody and get it explained, don't worry, go ahead and call. We answer. Now, I put in 15 phone lines. So if you call and it's busy, you're going to have to call back or sometimes, you know, it could be busy because the program's over. I kind of do it in waves. So never procrastinate. I'm just telling you that. KSE, knowledge, strategy, execution. It assumes that you're not going to procrastinate, because if you procrastinate, you'll never get knowledge, you'll never build strategy, and you sure as hell never execute. So I'm excited to do this. Some common questions people get, one of them is, Ty, will this work if I'm young or old, male or female? Will this work if I don't have a college degree? If I have an advanced college degree, will this work if I already have a business or don't? It works on everybody. I already tested it. You're not the first person to go through this anymore. 60, 70,000 people have gone through this. And so I found that good principles, it's like the principle of gravity. It applies to everybody, okay? People say, other question, is it worth the money? Well, if you ever come to LA and were to meet with me, that's the real price that I charge to teach this thing. The truth of the matter is sometimes I worry it's too low, because we all assign value. Have Ferrari and Lamborghini, and you go, ooh, this is a nice car, and you treat it well because it's Ferrari and Lamborghini. And so it's pennies on the dollar. And like I said, I don't mind giving stuff away free and sharing, but value for value. And now, again, what if you don't have time to go through it? You have time because you don't have to do it every day. And you don't have to do it even for hours. 15 minutes, 3 times a week is enough to change your life. People ask, is it guaranteed to work? As I said, it's 100% money back guarantee. So go through it. Go through all 67. At the end of 67, if you don't like them, or maybe go through one of them. If you don't like the first one, if you don't like the color of the website, you get the refund no matter what. If you don't like how my name's spelled, T-A-I, and you're like, I don't want to learn from somebody spelled T-A-I, call customer support. You can call them about 18 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can live chat or email. We don't hide. You can reach us very easily. We're very transparent with everything they do. Somebody says, I've had people say, will this help me very quickly? How long does it take? Sometimes it's instantaneous. The quickest I've ever seen is 1 day. I've seen that more than once. 1 day, somebody has like, oh my God, I made $10,000 or whatever. What I've never seen is somebody go through the program and actually do it and go, there was no value. Out of 70,000 people, I've never had that. Never. Now, there's been sometimes people have extenuating circumstances. Their mom's in the hospital and they have no time and all that kind of stuff. And there's always those exceptions, but it's just amazing how the KSE formula works alongside these 67. Plus, when I throw all these bonuses in the VIP, twice a month you can come on these live calls no matter where you are. Those ones, a lot of people like the VIP as the most, they like it more than the 67 steps. They're like, 67 steps is awesome, but to be able to interact and immerse yourself is even more important. So click the link below or above or right here, wherever you see it on your phone. And once you get in the program, send me an email. Let me know the success. I love to hear the stories. They're amazing. And yeah, so from my house, from my living room, I'm going to go eat something. Thanks so much for watching. Click the links, and I'll see you inside the 67 Steps program.